Hey everyone! Today I want to go over my personal thoughts on Diablo 4 PvP class tier list. I do want to admit that I do have a limited knowledge because I've been only playing Barbarian mainly, and as my alt I made a rogue, and my rogue is level 54, so it's nowhere near endgame PvP stage yet, so I can't say for sure. But yeah, from a couple weeks of my PvP experience as an endgame HotA Barbarian, this is my personal thoughts on class tier list. So let's get started. So starting with the most broken and overpowered builds, I mean, all of you probably already know, Twisting Blades Rogue is the strongest class, PvP class in game currently. I will explain why. Because first of all, because the poison imbue damage is basically broken. It's there are claims that it's not getting affected by the 92% PvP damage nerf. But I do have to check sources. But I mean, it does absurd amount of damage. I have almost 21k life, and when I get hit by Twisting Blades Rogue a couple times with the crits, like it honestly feels like it's doing something over like 60k damage to me. It's quite literally broken. A best mobility. I mean, you absurd amount of damage, over 40% dodge chance, and every time you land the hit, it almost feels like every time because the healing amount is absurd too, due to the crazy attack speed at the end game. Hands down, Twisting Blades Poison Imbued Rogue is the best PvP class in the game. I think it will get nerfed, like almost 100% sure. So the next one is HotA Barb. Yeah, this is the class that I love, and all the HotA love out there. But yeah, currently its HotA quick damage is indeed broken and bugged. From what my knowledge, HotA quick damage hits a lot harder because it ignores armor, even in PvP too, right? So I will talk about some quick controls in my future videos, but yeah, that's the reason why only this class can compete with the highest level of poison imbue rogues currently, due to that HotA quick damage being broken. Basically, I mean, if I think that will get nerfed as well because HotA does feel really powerful. It has a lot of one-shot potential, and as well as really tanky. And plus, like you do have like two unstoppable skills, Rallying Cry and Iron Skin, like that. So yeah, it's a really potent build, and plus the Barbarian does take 10% class damage reduction. So yeah, like these are two, in my opinion, the best PvP classes: Twisting Blades Rogue, Poison Imbued, and HotA Barb currently. So I'll move on to the next one. Yeah, so S class, S plus tier classes basically can beat any other classes in game. Well, I can't really say beat, but it can basically outperform. So we'll move on to the next one, S class. So like this is a bit funny class. Well, I mean, well, it does perform too. Earth plus Lightning Druid. So when I was fighting that, I don't really exactly know the mechanics because I've never played Druid before, but it does feel like they are getting infinite shields, and their damage is not too impressive, but yeah, it can definitely stay toe to toe with my HotA. And I don't know the Rogue versus Earth Lightning Druid matchup, but yeah, I think it's one of the most tankiest build in the game because it can literally outlast my continuous HotA smashes on top of his head. So yeah, like it's got one of the best survivability, I think, along with the Thorn Barb. But damage wise, it's not too impressive. So it's almost like as a HotA Barbarian perspective, like this kind of infinite shield druids almost feel like turtles. Like they can't kill me, but I can't kill them neither. So I sort of just ignore them. I don't even like bother going for them. Like once I realize how tanky they are, and I just cannot kill them, so we just go both of our ways. But yeah, I just put it up there because like it's one of the few classes that can outlast HotA Barbs currently. And other rogue builds, of course, like Flurry Rogue, and I don't know what kind of other builds that there are, but I mean, the Twisting Blaze Rogue is just too dominant right now that everyone's just using it, and everyone's using the Broken Poison imbue damage as well. I mean, I don't blame them, right? I mean, it's the nature of meta, right? I mean, if you played League of Legends before, it's just with every patch, balance changes, but devs gotta be aware of those problems, right? That's why they should continuously patch and improve other classes. I'm gonna address the Necromancer and Sorcerer later, but they are like really underperforming in PvP class brackets. So yeah, any kind of rogue builds, I think it's S and S plus because of their really high dodge chance and their mobility itself. Mobility is really important in PvP. I can't emphasize enough. Like you just like the movement speed is huge. So let's move on to the next one. Thorn Barb. Yeah, this does have a best survivability, but I did try it out a little bit before, but it just was not my play style. I would like to go in, smash people, and then be aggressive, right, and on the offensive, and I want to tank as well. But like Thorn Barb is just you can't just tank, right? Like, I mean, if they don't hit you, then you can't really deal damage. So it it can get really frustrating. So that's why I listed Thorn Barb on A, not on S. Um, so and other builds, other druids builds, right? Like Wolf, Bear form. I mean, they're in terms of damage potential, they do have a really high damage potential. And I did hear Bear form druid is one of the best nightmare dungeon clearer, like level 100 plus. So I mean, druid is a decent class. I mean, but in terms of competing with HotA Barb and Tracing Blade, Poisoning Bead Rogue, no, not a chance. Like it can't compete currently, but it can definitely outperform all the below classes in the tier list, like Sorcerer and like Necro and um, stuff like that, right? And of course, like if a Barb or Rogue is not built like optimized or something for PvP, the Druids definitely have chance against them. But like I'm talking about like the end game, like just geared out um, like PvP optimized builds, yeah, like druids. Other than that infinite shield druid that's really tanky, like other regular druid builds, yeah, I don't think they can compete. Even from my experience, I haven't lost to druids. I've lost ton of time to rogues, but yeah, like I haven't lost too many times to druids. And I'll move on to the next one. So B class. So yeah, this is what I want to address. Like, I mean, Diablo 4 devs did mention that PvP is not gonna be fair, and that's what we got, right? It's just not a fair game, right? Like, I mean, if you want to be staying competitive, you gotta play Rogue or Barb. Like, if you raise Sorcerer for Sorcerer example to level 100, then yeah, you're basically stuck at B tier because you can't really beat any high-end game Rogue or Barb. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but from my experience, I've almost never died to mages because their damage is just not that impressive. And I found that most of mages do rely on their CCs, right? Like freezing them and then just bursting you down, like stuff like that, right? But Barb has like two unstoppable skills, so it kind of feels easy for me. But I don't know how it is like Rogue versus Sork or like Necro versus Sork. I don't know these kind of matchups because like I said, I have limited knowledge. I'm just coming from Barb mainly and a Rogue perspective. But yeah, Sorcerer does feel really underwhelming. Fire Hydra Sork. I think it's got one of the best damage from Sorcerer in PvP, but um, in terms of survivability, yeah, it's just not there. Like I just chase him down and then I just dodge his firewalks and the firewall and the hydras, and I just chase him down and smash him once or twice, and he's dead, right? Whereas Ice Shield Sword can kind of kite around because it's got so much survivability, right? You do get a lot of TP spams and infinite ice armor and stuff like that, and also you do have a good CC because you freeze things, but it still can't compete with Rogue and Barb. At least from my experience, I don't know, like what I've never met like high level PvP mages. It's just I think it's at this version of the game, it's just not going to compete with the top tier list classes, and of course the Whirlwind Barb. I mean, I just listed it on here because it's Barb, and Barb is still tanky, and Whirlwind still does damage. But like, I mean, no reason to use Whirlwind over HotA. Like literally zero reason because most of the Whirlwind Barb damage is damage over time, dot damage, and yeah, in PvP, dot damage is not that strong, honestly, compared to burst damage like Oppo HotA. Like one shot potential is a lot more stronger. So I just listed up there because it's Barb, and Barb can still compete even if it's using Whirlwind. And I'll move on to the C tier. I mean, this is where sadness begins. I'm sorry to all you Necromancer players out there, but I gotta be honest. Like Necromancer is the the worst PvP class to pick from my experience, at least. I've literally never died to Necromancer. I mean, it does tons of damage, but I just get distance on him and then smash him like once or twice after its surviving skill, and I just get the win. I literally never lost to Necromancer because let's look at the class, right? It's got insane amount of damage with Bone Spear. Like people have figured it out, right? People have figured out the Bone Spear mechanics and all, and it does really well in Nightmare dungeons. And in terms of damage, yeah, it passes, but like I said, in PvP, it's all about the mobility, being able to like kite around and then like get your cooldowns back up and then burst your enemies down. Like that's how it goes, right? But then yeah, like Necro only has like one surviving skill, which is like if you play League of Legends, that Vladimir turning into like invincible pile of pool of blood and then coming back, right? Like that surviving skill is the only trick basically Necro has. Like if it's out of that, if that skill is on cooldown, then he's dead. Like I just get nearby and smash him and he's dead, right? So I would love to see Blizzard buffing up the Bone Necro, both Bone Necro and Summon Necro potential in PvP, because they're just really, really underwhelming. And I feel for you, Necromancer players out there. Like if you raise your character to level 100, spent all that time, and then seeing your character just performing like crap in PvP is probably not a good feeling. Um, I mean, unless you're a PvP player, you probably don't care. But I mean, still, right? I mean, like what is there to do after level 100 in ARPG game? You just go up, fight other people. Like PvP is the end game content, right? So um, yeah, and D tier I just listed it in there, but that summon necro is just not even usable, right? I like the summon links don't really do too much damage. I just kill its master, which is Necromancer himself, and there's not much way that he can protect himself. So if I kill him, all his summon links die, and then minions die, and then yeah, just yeah, I'm sorry to Necromancer players out there. I mean, it's kind of sad how Blizzard made Necromancer such an underwhelming, underpowered class in PvP. Because I used to love Necromancer in Diablo 2, and Bone Necro was one of the best PvP classes in Diablo 2. So I feel for you out there. But like I say, in the end, closing comment. PvP meta will change. I mean, season one is coming within like 9 days, right? And everything will change. Everything that I just listed out here, and that's why I say that's what makes a PvP fun, right? The meta itself. Like if you come from League of Legends background, you will know what I mean, right? Like it will make certain champions stronger, certain characters weaker, and the meta shifts from patch to patch, and that's where you try new things, new characters with different builds, right? That's where the variety comes in. So I'd love to see future PvP patches, and yeah, like I mentioned, this is coming from a HotA Barbarian perspective, so this information might not be perfect or completely correct, but yeah, just this is my thoughts on Diablo 4 PvP class tier list. So I'll meet you guys on the next video. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys.